Hello and welcome to HD Movie Talk. I am your host, Dean's Beans, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, the number one Spider-Man fan on this podcast and perhaps in the world, but probably not in the world, no offense. We have Fluffy Duffy, aka Harlan. Hello.
I take great offense to that, but it's also very true.
I mean, you're wearing a Hawkeye t-shirt.
That's true.
I wonder who is the biggest Spider-Man fan in the world.
It's definitely not me. Like,
Someone in this world would have read every Spider-Man comic and would own most of them, you know.
yeah,
You
like,
know,
I'm not that guy.
but then I think that guy, whoever this guy is, really hates all those comics. Do you know? Do you get what I mean? Anyway, this is a different conversation. Today, we are here to talk about a lot of Spider-Man. We are here to talk about the sequel to my favorite superhero film of all time and one of my favorite films of all time, Into the Spider-Verse. The sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, which is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
We have not communicated about this film at all. Like,
No.
but this we've communicated even less than usual, I think.
Yeah, because you've been out, partying,
Yeah.
and I've been out not.
Anyway.
So, oh,
I'll say spoilers now and then get lost if you haven't watched it.
yeah.
Because I don't know when we're going to start spoiling it, and we will. Harlan,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to give me? Okay. Here's my opening question, just to gauge your enjoyment for this film.
Yeah.
Just off the top of your head, it doesn't have to be super accurate. Where would you rank this in Spider-Man films?
Okay. I've only seen this movie once,
Yeah.
and I legitimately
Uh-huh.
don't know if I would put it above or below Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Where's Into the Spider-Verse in your
Um, Second place.
Into Spider-Verse second place after Spider-Man? Spider-Man 2.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've ranked my Spider-Man movies, but
Yeah. For me, this film I think is quite solidly in second place.
compared Into the Spider-Verse in the first
Spider-Man.
place.
After seeing it again, like part of me wants to put it above Into the Spider-Verse, and there's a whole list of reasons why that we'll get into. But I'm going to make a big statement about this film, so prepare yourself.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever been this is definitely not the best film I've ever seen. I'm not saying it's, but I don't think I've ever been in as much awe when a film ended as I was for this film.
Mm,
Just because the scale of what they did and the way the entire thing looks, I was just like, it's completely unique, and that's why I was in such awe. I was like, wow, this is just unreal.
yeah. I think the thing that had me in awe the most was Gwen's world.
Without a doubt.
It was so cool. I do have some bad news.
Go on.
I've only seen this movie once.
Yeah. Is that the bad?
And um the theater I was at,
Oh no.
the projector light bulb was dying.
Oh no.
So it kept flashing. And the volume was turned down so low that you had to listen to understand what the characters were saying.
I think that has been an issue a lot of people have found with the sound mixing in this film, though, in general.
Really?
So, the opening when Gwen is drumming, I found
Yeah.
it difficult to hear her then.
Me too. But also I can't really, it's hard for me to gauge that because
Yeah.
that was one of the points where I was having trouble. But that's interesting because this movie, I would argue, and Into the Spider-Verse, one of their redeeming, not redeeming, but one of the best parts about the movie is the sound
Yeah.
of it. The sound and the animation, but yeah.
So, how do you want to talk about this film? Do you want to go character by character, scene by scene, just blindly stumble through?
Um, We can go character by character. I think.
Okay. Well, let's kick it off with the man himself, Miles Morales. Can I check out something that's going to be a bit controversial?
Sure.
Now, this isn't controversial. It was just a thought I've had. And just
Okay.
part of me is just really disappointed that we don't just get standalone stories with this Miles Morales, because I think he's such a solid character. And like, obviously, those films will be nowhere near as amazing as this film. But I just think this Miles Morales is such a fun character. He's such a solid character that I would just love to watch a movie of him just having a normal Spider-Man adventure in his universe.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not what part 2 is going to be.
No,
At
but
all.
like,
But
I understand why that's never going to happen. But I just like, this is it's a real good. Obviously it's not Peter Parker, but it does perfectly capture that Spider-Man energy.
mm-hmm.
I think.
How do you feel about his new suit?
I like it.
I like the I do think I like the red shoulders and like the like almost like triangle design down his torso. But I don't mind the new one, and that's one I have in Fortnite. So
okay, yeah. Anyway, what did you think of Miles in this film?
it was good. I liked how he's like mentally and literally grown into the character more. I thought that was interesting, and I really like how he turned to be like the first anomaly. Like the first thing to
it's a real. I'm really like. I think we're going to get to the ending, obviously, but I think there is so much potential for this third film. I'm about to sneeze.
Yes, there are. Oh, good for you. That was a good sneeze.
Thank you.
Hot dog.
I didn't mute it, so no one heard it, but it was a good sneeze.
I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this, you saw it. Anyway, Miles Morales, he's a phenomenal Spider-Man. Like the quips and that kind of like, oh, he's late to everything, and everyone's like, oh, why are you late to everything? What are you hiding from us? I think that is like the definitive Spider-Man energy this guy has.
Yeah. Before we get any further, there's just something. There's one thing about this movie in general that I think make it worse than Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And that's, it might be a little controversial, the way it ends.
Okay. I get that. I 100% understand that.
Because it ends kind of being the setup of like the end of the second act.
Yeah, so I have thought about this a lot. So I know you haven't watched Fast X because you haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious films.
Well, why would I do that to myself?
And honestly, I feel like that might have to be rectified. Like in my mind, I'm just thinking of podcast ideas where I get you to watch all the Fast and Furious films. But that's a different conversation. And you look so thrilled by that concept. But I know spoilers for Fast X. I know you don't care if I spoil it because I already have spoiled it to you. That film ends with an abysmal cliffhanger. Like it just does not work as a cliffhanger at all. And then this film, and the next new film I watched in cinema was this, and it has such a good, like a genuinely genius cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Will were talking about this on the way back from the film, and I was trying to figure out, like, I couldn't put my finger on why the Fast X one worked and why the Spider-Verse one didn't. And I'm probably going to turn this into a YouTube video about like why the cliffhanger works in this film, because like it's a good cliffhanger. Like despite the story ending where it is, I think it's a really solid cliffhanger. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Spider-Verse.
like Miles Morales.
All of it, I think, just as a whole.
Okay.
Because you have the Miles Morales, you have the Spot, and you have Gwen's band.
Right.
And I think it is because Gwen and Miles did have complete arcs in this film.
Mm.
like over the course, it's like one film they had like a complete arc. I think they both did because it's Gwen coming back to her,
That's true. That is very true.
and
They
then
did hit, but
Miles's arc is him coming clean to his mum. But I think that is such a genius move because they're like, oh, we can have him complete his arc, but then we don't get the reveal of what his parents think because he's in a different universe. And I thought that was very cleverly done. And I understand the complaint that it's a bit incomplete, but when you go into, at least for me, when I went into this film for the second time, and I know that's how it's ending, I think it really, really works.
I think like one of the things that makes these movies stand out to the rest of the Spider-Man movies is that like you could pause this at any moment and like frame the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I think the same goes for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 4 times,
Yeah,
and the one I cried the least was the first time,
same.
just because like I was preparing for the trauma of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Drax dying or something. And then when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, cool. And then I was able to really like digest the story and what was happening on screen. So I think when I see it again,
I think
I'm
I
gonna be able
will
to.
appreciate it more. I think I definitely did the second time around, and I do understand. I understand it as a complaint, but I don't think I would understand it or agree with someone if they were like, "This ruins the film."
I don't
Because
think it ruins the film
because
by any because like
I think it is a complete film on its. It's like I made the complaint about June because I would still stand by the fact I wouldn't be like that's a complete film because I think it ends in a bit of a weird spot. But that's a
yeah
different conversation. But
yeah that's a different
I think this is a complete film.
yeah, but also at the same time, like it was one entire time.
Yeah,
Like one, I think the weakest part of this movie is the spot. Maybe that's what we talk about next.
sure. What do you think is weak about this spot?
What like he essentially like gets all powerful halfway through the movie and then disappears.
I get that. I think there is something weird about how tight like this is kind of like a small detail thing, but there's definitely something different about how time works between different dimensions. Like time moves at different rates in different
Mm-hmm.
dimensions. But I mean, firstly, because it's been a year since Miles has become Spider-Man. And if that's true, Peter B. Parker works fast, is all I'm saying. Because that child is like a year old, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like, so that like time work. And also, you get the scene of him, the spot is going from dimension to dimension, going to all these super colliders and like learning his skill. But
Mm-hmm.
it happens like that in Miles's universe.
Yeah.
So like time works differently. So, but I get what you mean. How he just disappears. I didn't find it unsatisfying though.
It it, it wasn't unsatisfying because there was so much happening in the story,
Yeah,
but like I do think it just that happening makes him like the weakest
yeah.
main character.
What do you think? Did you enjoy his origin? Like, what's your
It
view?
was good. It was funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
because if you've got the spot, you need to kind of treat him as the joke. You know?
another thing.
Yeah,
The spot goes the multiverse in the power of my hands.
yeah,
It's the same thing that Doc Ock says in the first one.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Doc Ock is going to be in the third one
Interesting.
because she jumps into the collider and then isn't seen at all. And
That's
she's too smart to just like die. Because Spider-Punk can make one of those watches, so can she.
well, yeah, but he's Peter Parker as well. To be fair,
That is true.
I mean, we don't know, isn't it? He's not called Peter Parker. I did like. I only noticed this the second time around. So this might just be me being dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But the entire time, Hobie Spider Punk is like walking through the headquarters. he's stealing all these different things and just pocketing them. And he's like, oh, it's just because I'm against the man, blah blah blah. And Miles is like, stop doing that. But then it like took me on the second watch. I was like, oh, that's how he built his watch.
Oh, interesting.
He's just stolen all the like futuristic tech of Miguel O'Hara and has just put it together into like that's my assumption of like I think that's their way of explaining how he managed to make a watch.
Yeah, probably.
Because he stole all this stuff, and I didn't pick that up until my second time. This is 100% a film.
Yes.
You could watch a dozen times and you'll pick something up new every time.
Oh, yeah, sure, that too.
It's like, do you remember? Do you like? It was probably only when the first film came out on streaming that people noticed that it said bagel when that random guy. Who
Yeah,
never
and now that's a central part of the plot.
I loved that.
Also, I love bagels, dude.
Last week, I had a chicken and avocado bagel.
Ooh. Was it good?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Just
all right. Who's
I
next?
throw a lot of food at a lot of villains.
Oh, and did you see he was eating like a steak pie?
Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we don't really have those here. That's not like a common American food. What?
What did he call it?
Not a steak bake or whatever you call it.
No, he was like, "Oh, how much do I owe you for?" I can't remember that. It's besides the point. Okay, I think like my more in-depth thoughts. I like what I did realize makes this like why this film does feel quite fresh. And this is going to sound really stupid.
Go for it.
If you said this 20 years ago, people would be like, "Are you stupid?" It's that they properly use secret identities as like a crux of the plot.
How do you mean?
Like, no superhero films really do secret identities nowadays.
Besides Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I mean, but also only No Way Home is the only one that's more recent that deals with it, and it doesn't, you know, like
yeah, it's true.
Like it's not a part of the plot. I mean, like the whole like crux of Miles's character in this is like his parents know he's hiding something from them, and they don't know what it is, and he wants to tell them. And I really found the scenes like one of my favorite scenes in this film is when Rio has that conversation with Miles on the roof, and then he goes, "Mum, I'm," and then he can't say it, and then I loved. I mean, I have said it already, but I just think it's so genius how they had him coming clean to his mum, but then they didn't show it. Like show
that was really smart. I don't mean to brag or anything, but when Miles was swinging through the alternate universe and it wasn't revealed that it was an alternate universe yet, I was thinking to myself, I didn't confirm it because I was like, that would be stupid. Like, there's no way that could be. But I'm like, this does not feel like Miles's world.
It does look. I think that world is the second best looking world.
What's the first?
The Gwen's.
Oh yeah.
I think India did look really cool. Mumbattan, whatever it was called.
Yes, it did.
But I liked it. Was kind of it made me think of like Batman the animated series because that was all like hand drawn, and they instead of drawing it on white, they drew it on black.
Yeah.
And that's what this looked like to me, if that makes sense.
Like, no, it did have, and especially like the close-ups on the characters, like their eyes glowing,
and green, and yeah. But I picked that up because I've got like I've just been thinking a lot about the world.
I've been thinking.
This is the nerd. This is a real nerdy thing. About the universe numbers.
Okay.
And I clocked it. I figured out he wasn't going to his world because I saw it said Earth 42 on the machine. And earlier on in the film, it's 1610, which is stupid. So because like Iman Vellani had the massive beef with Kevin Feige.
Oh yeah, those two hate each other.
Earth 616 that it's 199999 or whatever it is.
And
then in this film, they call that Earth 19999 because that's what it is in the comics.
Right.
But then they call Miles's universe 1610, where in the comics the 1610 is the Ultimates universe, where Miles Morales like originated from in the comic books. So So they're like, oh, the MCU is this Earth number, but the our movies exist in the comic, like the numbers that are the comic book version. And I'm like, you're just, you know,
That is slightly irritating.
it did irritate me a little. You know, I was a bit like, come on, guys. I do have some big, like, really pointless questions about the multiverse, but I'm gonna save them till later.
Okay. All right, let's move on to more characters.
Gwen.
Gwen, better in this movie than the first one.
Yeah, and that's just because she gets more focus, you know.
Right. I love what they do with their origin and Peter and her dad.
Yeah, Jack Quaid. Did you pick that up? Did you see that?
Really? I
Because
did not pick that up.
before I went to the film, I saw a picture of him at the premiere on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he
me
was
too.
like, I'm in the film for about 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
then in the credits, it said Peter Parker. Like it said Jack Quaid, Peter Parker. And in my mind, I went, oh, he must have been the Lego Peter Parker. Like, I don't know why that was my assumption. But I was like, he must be the
Fair
Lego.
enough.
And then I went to watch it again and I was listening out and I was like, oh no, that's definitely Jack Quaid. Like, if you know it's Jack Quaid, it is like it's just Jack Quaid's voice. And I think that, you know, Jack Quaid's pretty good casting for a nerdy Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm surprised. Like, could you imagine a Jack Quaid as Spider-Man? I think it would work very well.
He's Superman, isn't he, in the animated Superman show that's coming?
Yeah, eventually.
And that one, I'm a bit like, when I first heard that, I was like, Jack Quaid as Superman? That's a bit of an out of, you know, left field choice. But he'd be like, he would be a good animated Spider-Man. But yeah, I really like her relationship with her dad. I think that's really well handled. I really love the opening, especially on a rewatch, because they kind of like they show snippets of the whole film throughout. Like her intro, when she talks about Miles, you just keep seeing flashes of the scenes that are coming up of those two.
Really?
And I did pick that up the first time, and I was like, these scenes aren't here yet.
Right.
On the rewatch, you kind of see like so much of the film, and you're like, this is really cool. And I just really love how it was like, he's like, his name's Miles Morales, and he's all alone, and he's not the only one. And he was bit by a radioactive spider, and he's not the only one. And I was like, this is such a cool intro. I'm not kidding. When the drum beat started on my second watch, I got a bit giddy. I was like, oh, I'm about to watch this again.
I love, like, because, okay, so she's in the watercolor world.
Yeah.
But, like, I love how with every shot, like, she's shaded with different colors. Like, no same shot looks the same.
Yeah, and like I read about this world in an article before I watched the film in like and it was like they did it like a mood ring, so like all the colors represent the moods the people are feeling.
Oh, interesting.
And that is it does. I think it is quite clear when you get moments like when they hug at the end of the film, just the entire room goes white. And I really also like how in Gwen's world, that in all the reflections and everything, it's like Spider Gwen, and then and like there's the bit of like the opening of her walking through the street, and then she's walking through the train, and then you got like Miles in the background, and then I just think it's very well done.
100%.
And then, if we're still talking about Gwen, that opening fight scene,
so good. But am I remembering this correctly? Are her webs green?
I don't think so.
I may have just been seeing things, and also the projector I was at wasn't great. But I think that because like the Spider Woman had like the white webs, Miguel O'Hara's webs, which are easily the coolest webs in the entire movie.
Yeah,
and
I really like Spider Woman's how they come out her fingers.
It makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it is cool.
Yeah. I don't like how they swapped out her ballet shoes for Converse.
Okay, well, we're never going to see eye to eye on this.
Why is that?
Because, like, do you hear that loud lawnmower?
No.
Thank God. It's loud. My favorite part about Ant-Man Quantumania
is the Converse in the
yeah, I love me a pair of Converse on a superhero.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's the coolest shoe.
I think the ballet shoes are really cool on Gwen. I think that's like an iconic look.
Yeah, but like also I also get why they changed it.
Do you know why they? Do you know where they're from?
The ballet shoes?
The Converse. This is.
No.
I know you wouldn't pick up on this. Do you know why?
Why?
You're American. You didn't
Who
understand.
told you?
You didn't understand what Spider Punk was saying. He
What
had
did
a,
he say?
he had a line about Gwen's kicks. So Hobie got her the shoes.
Oh, that makes sense. And also, like, I do feel like Gwen is very punk in this movie,
That's true.
and there's no mention to ballet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if she got off a drum kit and was wearing ballet shoes, it'd be a little bit like,
That's
okay,
I just like it because it's like the spider gracefulness is what you know.
yeah, for sure.
It's
But
not that big a deal. But what was I going to say? I This is a bit of a nitpick. I wish they like defined the Spider Punk Spider Gwen relationship a bit more when I'm shipping Miles and Gwen so hard.
yeah, eh,
I'm really shipping those two.
if they would have taken time out of the movie to do that, I would have been like, okay, guys, let's bring it back. Let's.
I just really like Miles and Gwen in this film,
They're good.
which is crazy because after the first film, I was like, wow, I'm really happy that they had a male and a female protagonist and they didn't make it romantic. Like that's
They
something
did.
I like about Into the Spider Verse. It's like that they're friends, and the point of that film is that Gwen has finally made another friend.
There's definitely like
There
a
is, yeah,
seed.
and like Miles does have a crush on her, obviously,
Right.
but I liked it how they ended up as friends in that film. But now I was like, because you don't see that a lot, do you?
Right.
You don't just see like, yeah. But I like how I really enjoyed their romance this and how like they've just both been really missing each other while they've been gone, and like Gwen knows she's not allowed to go see Miles, but she has to, and all that stuff.
What was I gonna say?
I will just say I will be annoyed if it takes until the end of the next film for those two to get together.
Probably will.
I know it probably will, but I just make it the first scene they reunite. It won't. I'm gonna be all annoyed with her.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to next character?
Sure, who are we going? Miguel?
I think we should go Miguel, yeah.
What a cool guy.
So the one nitpick I have about this character,
yeah,
is that we didn't get enough of him.
I get that.
Because I think the fact that like he's the one Spider-Man who like arguably shouldn't be there. Because because he does need like an external force to remain a quote unquote Spider-Man, and like Miles even like points that out.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you even Spider-Man?" Or he says something like that. I don't know. A little foggy.
I'm disappointed we never saw the vampireness actually.
I know. That was because it's easy to forget about that.
Yeah.
Because like it's Spider-Man. But during that first opening scene when we get like that shot of him like showing his big boy fangs, I was like, oh shit.
But I'm also glad they didn't do it in that scene.
Yeah, if he just ripped Vulture apart.
Yeah, was he just gonna like he is a pretty bad dude because he would have just killed that Vulture and then like not returned him home. Like that Vulture did nothing wrong, really. He showed up.
Yeah.
He showed like I don't think he really we don't know what he was doing in the museum before other people showed up, but he was terrified like in the flashback we saw, and he looked sick. Off topic, but I liked it when he would shoot a chain and you'd still get all the paper around the outside of the chain, and there was one bit where he aims his like arm or whatever, and you see all the math calculations written next to him.
Yeah, so cool.
This film makes Into the Spider-Verse look like the first Toy Story film. Like,
Interesting. Yeah,
like
kind of.
this film, you like, I don't know, just because Into the Spider-Verse has a lot of experimental and stuff to it, but it's all like small details,
Mm,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
like the Ben-Day dots and like people being out of focus. There's nothing big like that guy or like Gwen's World or anything like that or Spider-Punk. But then you see that stuff and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Um, no, they really it you could tell they needed a lot of confidence for Into the Spider-Verse, but you can tell they were like really,
Yeah.
let loose for this one by like not let loose like
No.
lazy, but like let loose by the studio to do whatever they wanted.
And I've got no idea how they can top that visually.
I'm worried it might be a Return of the Jedi situation. Like if this is Empire, I'm worried that 3 is going to be Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi isn't bad, but it's certainly not better than Empire.
If this film was like zero point 0.5 worse than whichever one of these films you like least, do you think it would be the greatest trilogy of all time?
Greatest. Well, I don't know if I could say greatest trilogy,
What
but
would
greatest superhero like comic book trilogy. Oh man,
I think it would be the greatest trilogy of all time. What are you thinking? Is best?
Guardians.
I'm a Guardians fanboy all day long, but I don't think I don't think a single Guardians film is better than either of these two films, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I will say that like you rewatch a movie enough times, you know, you kind of get bored with the story.
Yeah,
And once you get bored with the story of Guardians, there's not like an insane amount of art to keep you in awe,
that's true. See,
which is
I think this is completely unfair. The Guardians trilogy is weakened by it being a part of the MCU
that
because
is also very true.
when we ranked trilogies, we would give them all a score out of 5, and then we'd give like the cohesiveness a score out of 5. And obviously, Guardians Galaxy 3 is a bit disconnected because you get 2 Avengers films, and then you also
Right.
get Thor, and technically you get the holiday special in between, and that I think that does weaken the trilogy, despite the obvious that's not the trilogy's fault. But Into the Spider Verse will just be like a clean.
But I also don't think that's necessarily fair because I think although it weakens the trilogy in some aspects, it also like enhances the trilogy in some aspects.
Yeah, but like if my ideal trilogy would be this, and I think the other thing that I would argue is that from obviously we haven't seen the third one yet, so this whole conversation is pointless. But
Yeah.
Spider Verse will have a lot more cohesive story.
Yeah,
I would
that's
argue.
true. Yeah,
Even
no, if
from the first film to the second film, it is like a very like that's a proper
yeah,
continuum.
all right, you told me. You told me.
Yeah.
It would be the best superhero comic book trilogy of all time.
I would still argue best trilogy of all time. But
Well, I haven't seen all the trilogies. There's a lot out there.
you haven't seen the Blades trilogy,
Nope. Have you?
trilogy, and
Have
trilogy.
you?
No, you haven't seen what other trilogies are there. This is besides the point.
Okay, let's move on to next more characters. Um, Ben Riley.
Ben Riley, fun.
I liked him.
I liked it was very comic book esque how he was just narrating to himself.
Yeah.
That's how all comic book characters talk, where they're like, I'm walking down the alleyway, I'm looking, then he just gets beaten up by.
Also, I love Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
I love that man.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that he's one of the 2 people that Miguel chose to come with him.
Yeah, probably because looked sick.
Do you know why I think he was chosen? I had a thought about this.
Why?
I think he pointed at B Parker and he's like, I've had enough of you. And then he took two non-Peter Parkers with him. I think
Oh
he was
well,
I just don't want to deal with any more Peter Parkers.
interesting. Maybe that would make sense. Okay, so who else do we have to talk about?
Go B Parker.
Peter B. Parker.
Peter B Parker.
Peter B. Parker.
I liked him here.
He had less to do.
Yeah, I didn't massively mind that because that we got that I think at the expense of Spider Gwen having more to do.
Right.
And I'm happy with that trade-off.
Me too. I don't think he felt unnatural. He was good. I think he served the story well enough,
Yeah.
but largely impressionable. Like he has a kid now. His kid's cute.
I liked his scene with MJ.
Yeah, that was good.
And I really liked his chat with Miles.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how because him and Gwen sort of had a similar role in the movie,
Yeah.
and it was an interesting dynamic having them being so close to Miles, but also needing to
Yeah.
do what they think is the right thing.
I find the whole moral thing about this film interesting, but I think we'll get to that later. I also like the small detail that he was there when Miguel's world was destroyed.
Yeah,
And like I don't know, it was a bit of like a unneeded detail, but it was like, yeah, I really like this Spider-Man has been like this is the Spider-Man that has been for everything.
yeah.
Yeah, like he's the experienced one. And that's why I liked him so much in the first film because I'm fed up of teenage Spider-Man. This guy's great.
This guy is great.
And this same year as the video game.
Huh?
Came out same year as the video game, And that year everyone was like, "Oh, we don't need a teenage Spider-Man."
Yeah, okay. But we haven't even talked about Spider-Man 2 yet.
It's in this film. Did you see that?
Yes, he is.
No, did you see the game is in this film?
Wait, really?
I got this spoiled before I watched the film, hence why I noticed it. That's what
Okay.
he is playing in the dorm room.
Is he playing Spider-Man 2?
And Spider-Man 2.
Huh. Is it clips we've seen before?
No.
Interesting.
It's like stuff with the metal spider arms and
Good to know.
yeah, keep an eye out for that on a rewatch. Do you want to talk about Miles's parents?
Yeah, yes. His dad significantly better in this movie.
I adore his dad in the first film, but
his dad's good in the first one, but like he's so funny in this one.
he is. I really like the scene between him and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I really like there's more of the mum because I've got a fat crush on her.
I respect that.
That's besides the point.
You dog. But she had barely anything to do in the first one, so I agree with you.
Yeah, and she had a good part in this. And like I liked that she had the heart to heart with Peter in that one scene. And
yeah.
And the dad's gonna get a lot of focus in the third film, I think, because he's dead in 42.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be very interesting.
Off topic. What do you think my favorite joke in this film is? Because it's a funny film.
It is a funny film. I really don't know. I haven't seen the movie twice, so I don't really.
Yeah,
you lose a lot.
It's with the Lego Spider-Man when Miguel O'Hara goes, "Thank you, Peter. You're one of our best." And I don't know why it really makes me laugh that Lego Spider-Man's one of the best Spider-Men.
It's so disappointing that was spoiled.
Yeah, I know.
Could you imagine how insane that would have been
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
didn't know that?
yeah. I think it's so funny. Thank you. Do you want to go cameos while we're?
Yeah, let's go cameos because
This film has one of my favorite cameos of all time. Um,
all right,
but you get Andrew and Toby for a second.
for a second. But can you consider those cameos?
I think they're cameos.
Okay, because nothing new is filmed.
No, but like they're in it.
Yeah.
Did you fanboy when you saw Toby? What was your reaction?
Well, I did fanboy when Toby was on screen, but that wasn't what I was fanboying over. Because Spectacular Spider-Man was in the other corner.
He was in the other corner.
And I saw that first.
And
then I heard my friend also gasp. And I was like, what? And then I looked to the left and I saw Toby.
Well, I fanboyed a bit because when they were talking about like how captains have to die, they showed one like masked animated Spider-Man over a dying captain, and they used Andrew Garfield's voice for that Spider-Man.
Really?
I think. Well, the reason I say that is because I turned to Will and I went, "It's Andrew Garfield," and then I looked back at the screen, and then actual Andrew Garfield was on the screen.
Yeah. That was cool. Now, considering we're on the topic of live action cameos, let's just get this.
Mrs. Chen.
Mrs. Chen, yeah, that's what I was going for.
That's a. I think that's a pretty good joke in this film.
That was a good one
for two films that I could not care less about.
Hey.
Like I don't even dislike them.
No, you can't. It's
I don't
when Morbius exists, they can't be the worst.
But I don't care. I care about these films a lot less than I care about Morbius. I care about Morbius a little too much. Like I just have but like I really and like also who cares about Mrs. Chen?
That's true.
If you had asked me what that character's name was a week ago,
I probably wouldn't be able to answer that.
Yeah, but and then did you like the Morbius joke? I only spotted this the second time around.
No, what did they say?
When Gwen is telling Miles about Miguel O'Hara, he goes, he's like this super cool vampire Spider-Man, but he's a good guy. And then Miles goes, a Spider-Man, he goes, a vampire that's a good guy. I'd pay money to see that.
That's pretty good.
Well, that's good Morbius reference. Pay more $1 billion. Okay. We also have the other live action cameo is Spider-Man PS4.
You can't say that's live action.
No, I'm just joking because I'm just trying to.
Oh, Donny Glover.
The reason Miles Morales is a thing, kind of.
Okay. If you had to place your bets in,
yeah,
would you say that this is the MCU Prowler or a variant from different?
I think variant.
Me too.
You could say it's the MCU one very easily, but also when he's back in the MCU, like when he inevitably shows up in the MCU, they're never going to go, I remember this one time I was kidnapped by a bunch of animated dudes and this Spider-Punk guy beat me up and then I was locked in this building and then there was like hundreds of Spider-Man there, okay, can we talk about all my big multiverse questions now?
Okay. I do want to get back to Johnny Glover though.
Yeah. Okay, about Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about him first, and then we'll get to my.
Okay. I think we knew there was going to be. We didn't know, but it was highly speculated that we were going to get some live action footage in this movie.
Yeah.
And I was worried it was going to look a little bit like Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the Roger Rabbit looks bad, but like, it definitely is a different tone. And I was worried that it would almost take you out of it, seeing a live action person put into an animated film. But they incorporate it really well in this movie, and it doesn't look that jarring.
You know why I think it doesn't look jarring?
Why?
Because he's in that cage.
Yeah.
Because he's got like that animated wall in front of him.
Behind him.
It makes him look like fit into the world better. If it was just him, like in the next film, well, I'm going to say this: there is inevitably going to be Tom Holland and maybe the other two.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will look a bit more jarring
Yeah,
to see someone also interact with the world more.
I think it'd be less jarring if Miles goes into their
That's
universe,
what I was just thinking. If Miles ended up in the MCU,
because that would make more sense.
that would be cool. I'd like that.
Um,
I would really like to see the interaction between Holland and this. Which
yeah, no, that'd be
Spider-Man,
really cool.
like forgetting which Spider-Man you'd want to see appear more, which one would you like to see interact with Miles the most?
Um, Probably Tom Holland's.
Yeah,
But I was thinking about this because a live action Miles Morales movie was confirmed,
yeah,
and if I were to have it be in any universe, it would be in Andrews.
same. Is that what we pitched when we did our?
We
So
haven't done a Miles Morales pitch.
oh no, didn't we put Miles Morales in Spider-Man 4?
Maybe I think we did.
Yeah, which is also a fine idea. I just think I'd love to see Peter B. Parker meet Tobey Maguire.
Yes, that'd be great too. That's the what perfect person for Tobey Maguire to meet.
Yeah. I do really like Peter B. Parker's line where he's like, "You're not funny, Miguel O'Hara. Every Spider-Man's supposed to be funny."
Imagine Andrew meeting Spider Gwen.
That's
That'd
what
be
I was
pretty good.
Yeah. But like it's funny how Gwen's aware that she dies in
In
every other...
every universe. Yeah.
But like, is that a canon event? Gwen's I don't know.
The love interest dying, I think, could
The
be
love
argued as a canon.
but then it hasn't happened for it's weird that despite Miles wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man, he is still confined by the rules of these canon events, like his uncle dying.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah.
Maybe like they just assume because his uncle did die, but like I don't know.
Okay, can I go to my multiverse questions now?
Yes, go to your multiverse questions.
So Spider-Verse exists in the same universe as all the Spider-Man films and the Venom films,
Right.
which means this is in the same multiverse as the MCU.
Right.
Do you think Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were contacted about the Spider Task Force thing?
Mm.
Because I understand like Miguel O'Hara doesn't like Tom Holland because he's a big idiot. That
Well, they had to because when they were displaying the canon events, they were both there.
but that doesn't mean they're in the team, does it?
I would assume that they'd have at least been contacted.
That's true. But like Tom Holland's not being contacted because Tom Holland messed up a lot more than Miles Morales did.
Yeah.
Everything that happened to Miles was not that kid's fault.
Yeah.
But Tom Holland is just he's that little nerd on Earth 199999.
You know what's interesting? In the original trailer, when that line is said, you can tell Miguel O'Hara isn't saying it in that clip.
Yeah, it's a different clip.
So that's
We re-recorded it for the trailer. Anyway, so why? This is stupid things that will never be answered and aren't worth asking. I wanna like explain it now, but I like consistency in my rules.
Fair enough.
So firstly, no one glitches where they travel to other universes usually.
In this movie?
No, in the MCU.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It's the same multiverse, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like not only that, like I don't understand the MCU multiverse. It's what I mean. Because like what is an incursion and like there's no incursions in these films. I mean, I guess what happens to like the India world is an incursion.
Yeah. That is interesting. And it's also something like I don't really want to think about because it's gonna hurt my brain.
And it's never gonna be like, oh, because they're never gonna connect properly apart from a cameo.
Right.
you know. But also the MCU multiverse is stupid.
Agreed.
And Across the Spider-Verse did a million times better multiverse stuff than Multiverse of Madness.
Agreed.
This was Multiverse of Madness, I think.
This was a multiverse of madness for sure.
This is my Multiverse of Madness.
You're my multiverse of madness.
Oh, that's nice.
Just kidding, it's Dead's Will.
Oh, okay. Cameos, you get the Alfred Molina archive footage.
Uh-huh. We get Spectacular Spider-Man
Yeah,
with a
Spider-Man,
weird 3D render, but that's okay.
Spider-Man PS4. Why is
Spider-Man-
Spectacular Spider-Man so short?
I mean, to be fair, he is. He's just a short little guy.
Yeah, but he's tiny. How
He's
is
like the
Lego
Will.
one Lego sized? Lego Spider-Man Lego sized. How big is the spot when he pokes his head through? I actually don't remember.
I feel like he's pretty big. I don't
Yeah,
remember though.
There's Spider-Rex.
Yeah.
You should make a video about the origin of Spider-Rex.
Oh,
He was hit by a meteor of spiders.
that's awesome. What other cameos do we get? We get the 60s. We get Spider-Man Unlimited,
Yeah.
but we don't get the animated series Spider-Man,
No.
which is weird. Technically, Spider-Man Unlimited is the animated series Spider-Man,
Uh-huh.
technically,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. We get.
I'm thinking that might be it.
Sure, there's other ones we're missing, but those are like the main ones.
I mean, it didn't have my favorite Spider person in technically. I mean, it kind of did.
Who's your favorite Spider-Person?
Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, he's in the movie technically. I made a video where I said he's not, but he is, so I'm wrong and I'm stupid.
Nick Cage isn't in the movie though.
No, he is not, and that is the biggest tragedy of them all.
Where I go, the wind follows, and the wind, it smells like rain.
So good.
I really like that team Gwen has assembled at the end.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see Spider-Ham back in the movie.
Spider-Ham. So the team, run for it, is Gwen, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Punk, Spider-Bite, Spider-Man India, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham. And Penny Parker.
Yeah.
And it looks like Jessica Drew's kind of on their side.
Which one's Jessica Drew's?
She's Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman? Okay.
Because she watches the conversation Gwen has with Miles's parents.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There were some real good cringe scenes in this film.
Not as in like poorly written, but like emotionally cringe.
Same.
Right.
There are some in the first one as well, actually, like when Miles first meets Gwen. I hate that scene.
Hey. Okay. What are we missing?
Should we talk about the ending as a like what we expect?
Sure.
Like what Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse? Do you think it's going to come out in March
Of next year?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to?
That's the release date.
Yeah, I do.
He did make the films at the same, but like I don't know if I don't know if this is the kind of thing where the writer's strike will slow it down.
I don't think it will.
That's the only way I'm willing to let this film be delayed.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Any other reason? I'm not accepting it, Sony.
Nope. Come on, Amy.
If Morbius cameo, I'm gonna lose my mind.
That'd be so good. I'd be so happy.
Okay, what I really love about the Earth Miles is left on is that this film kind of leaves Miles with the question of like, does he deserve to be Spider-Man? Because he wasn't chosen to be Spider-Man. And then he's immediately put into a world where he didn't become Spider-Man and instead he became a villain. And I think that's such an interesting position to put him in, of him being like, putting him up against his evil twin, of being like, am I worthy of being Spider-Man? Like, I could have ended up like this. Like,
Mm,
was it destiny? Like, everyone's like, oh, it's destiny for everyone to be Spider-Man apart from him.
right. But like, I don't even like, cause like Peter in a universe where Peter Parker didn't become Spider-Man, he became the Lizard. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
I
true.
think there is a lesson to be learned from that.
That's a very good point. But like, oh, yeah, I guess Miles doesn't really know that. I think
But no, for the character,
I also think you're going to get good. Like, I really want them to spend some time in this world.
yeah,
And because I think also you could make a lot of good points about like why Miles should be Spider-Man when you explore a world without Spider-Man, and you're like, this is what it's like.
Mm.
This is what it like. This is like showing us that, like, the only way to like show the importance of Spider-Man is by showing us this world without Spider-Man.
Right. For in a world that should have had Spider-Man.
Yeah. There's a dead Robin across the road. That's a shame.
Oh, truly.
Jason Todd.
What
do you think about the Spot?
The Spot, it's gonna be a big bad, but we have to.
I think he's a villain of the week.
Yeah, kind of. Villain of the year. He gets 1 year.
He is cool.
I specifically like his like new design because he gets
like
2 designs in this movie.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how much of the next film is like Miles going up against Miguel, Miles going up against Miles, and Miles going up against the Spot.
Yeah, he does kind of have 3 villains here, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think it works very well because like we can figure out a lot of the broad strokes of the next film, and that's exciting because we can be like, Miles gets to explore this world with no Spider-Man, and he gets like go up against his uncle and his and his self. But like, you don't know what the plot's going to be.
Right. Yeah, that is very exciting.
It's a good balance of like showing us what's to come without us knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then we know the Spider team is probably, I assume they're going to be warding off Miguel in that team.
Yeah, I think eventually all the Spider-Men are going to turn on Miguel. Or do you think Miguel's going to turn? What's going to happen?
I think the entire Spider team is going to turn on Miguel.
I think Miguel's too stubborn to change his mind until he sees that it works. Because I think Gwen's plan is to get Jeff to not become captain.
Bless you.
Thanks.
Probably. But I don't know, maybe he will and nothing will happen. That's also a possibility.
Do you think he's going to die?
I don't know.
Because before I watched this film, I was sure he was going to die in this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Gwen was most likely to die out of anybody in this movie.
I thought it was Jeff. I think Peter B. Parker's going to die.
Maybe. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they don't. I would be surprised if they don't kill off anybody.
That's also true. Or Miguel will sacrifice himself.
Yeah, maybe that as well. Or maybe Miles.
I don't think they would do that. I like. Do you see what I mean? Like, part of me is like, I would just love to see Miles do his own thing because I really like him.
Yeah, I like him too. But with the live action movie coming, it's possible like we'll just get a different one.
Well, yeah, we'll get a different one, but it won't be this guy.
Anything else?
What's kind of your thoughts on this film versus the first?
It's certainly more ambitious. I think the art direction is much cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think it has as strong of a landing.
Yeah. Do you know? I think the one thing the first film has superior
What?
over this film. I think the first film has a few incredibly memorable and iconic moments. Like I've got the poster behind me of
The Leap
the
of
leap
Faith.
of faith. And
Yeah.
like that scene is just so iconic and so synonymous. And there's nothing in this film that I think will have that impact.
Yeah.
Being like that is the moment of just
And the soundtrack I do think is stronger in the older one.
yeah. I think I'd have to listen to it,
Me too.
but
But
yeah,
like,
I could agree with that. But it's because it has those big musical keys like Peter Parker's death and like the leap of faith.
right.
Um, yeah, I think, but I think I like the worst action film, the worst action scene in this film is better than 90% of all superhero action.
That's true.
Like it is, all of it is incredible.
Yeah. It is an incredible movie.
Yeah. And it looks like we're going to be on a really solid run of superhero films after everyone's saying the fatigue is hitting. If we go Guardians of the Galaxy 3, then this film, and then The Flash.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
year for
that's a
superhero movies.
really solid run of 3, and then it might be ruined by Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle looks good, but
It looks good, but let's be real. It'll be the worst out of the 4.
even if it's like the best it could be, probably.
And then we've got the biggest cinematic event of the year, Kraven the Hunter.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that movie, but
I'm only looking forward to it if Morbius shows up. And he goes, I think it's got something to do with Spider-Man.
no.
Form a team.
That's not what he would sound like.
Oh.
Like, what would Morbius sound like if he just like?
Okay, so I have a more important question for you. Forget everything you're just saying.
Okay.
For the third film, they're like saying we have saved some spider people for the third film. I've been racking my brain. I can't really think of any. But if they did like a Spider Punk or a Spider India and it was just a Spider-Man from a different country, what country would he choose and what would he sound like?
It'd probably be something like, Mamma Mia, Miles Morales. What do you think?
No, I think it would sound something more like, Mamma Mia, with great power comes even greater spaghetti. Mamma Mia.
Oh, Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that would be in the movie.
No?
No.
Okay, well, what I think the Morbius joke you were saying would be very similar to what we just did, in short.
Mm.
Hey, Harlan, what should we do next week?
A Silver Lining.
Oh, yeah, we should watch a bad film. I've got a list of 63 bad films here. Bear in mind, I still have the ones we have watched on this list. So give me a number from 1 to 63.
60.
60?
What is it?
Should I get you to pick again?
Just tell me what it is, and then I'll decide.
It's Spawn.
Oh, I've already seen Spawn, so we have to skip that.
Okay. Give me another number.
42.
We could do that film. It's not a bad film. It's not a bad film.
What film is it?
Fantastic Four.
Sure.
Is that too good? No, we can do that.
We can do that.
It's not an amazing film.
No.
It's better than the best film we've done on the Silver. No, it's worse than the best film we've done on the Silver Lining.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And as we all know, the best film we've done on the Silver Lining is Morbius.
I'm actually come full circle.
What my favorite is out of all these films.
Oh, I don't know.
I really enjoyed Cat in the Hat. I'm not even kidding.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man 3. Anyway, thank you for listening, all you wonderful people. Harlan and I love you dearly.
I love you too, buddy.
No, I'm
talking Wilmore.
We love our listeners. I never stated whether I love you. I'm going to save that reveal until after we finish recording. because our listeners cannot know. We'll see you next week for Fantastic Four.
Adios.
Bye bye.